offer second birth to all who would the blessing receive. The inner peace He brings that lift us on soul wings to soaring light and heaven perceive. Our pleasures and pains, our losses, our gains, have kept us bound. The ropes of yearning held us round. We dream of imposing on desert sand, flower gardens of beauty, verdant vales of delight. Imagination misted our sight. The freedom we would know, Christ offered long ago, and even from His love flows peace. All creatures here on earth, alive to their own worth, can welcome love and win their release.
Christ shines asleep, the silence is so deep that round about with hope in their eyes. The animals await, their breathing they await. We know their time has come to arise.
For Jesus came on earth to offer second birth to all who would the blessing receive. The inner peace He brings can lift us on soul wings to soaring light and heaven perceive. Our pleasures and pains, our losses, our gains, have kept us bound. The ropes of yearning held us round. We dreamed of imposing on desert sand, flower gardens of beauty, verdant vales of delight. Imagination misted our sight. The freedom we would know, Christ offered long ago, and even from His slumber flows peace. All creatures here on earth, alive to their own worth, can welcome love and win their release. Oh, Christ shines asleep, the silence is so deep that round about with hope in their eyes. The animals await, their breathing they await. They know their time has come to arise.
Today we celebrate the birth of an avatar, those self-realized masters who have chosen to come back to earth, to uplift all of us. And the avatars are all equal in the sense that they've reached that same level of Christ consciousness, of Krishna consciousness. and they had to use their own efforts to get there. Yoganandaji said, "But to me, Krishna and Christ stand supreme. Christ performed his greatest miracle when he allowed himself to suffer on the cross, saying, 'Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.' He could have retaliated with spiritual power and saved himself. But his victory of love and forgiveness over hate had made him an example for the ages. Christ was a renunciate. Krishna was a king. To be in the world but not of it is very difficult. You live in the midst of temptations and desires, and yet you must remain untouched by them. Mahavatar Babaji first spoke of showing the unity of Christ's teachings and Krishna's yoga. To fulfill this mission is the special dispensation given to me by Babaji. There are so many parallel passages in the Bible and in the Bhagavad Gita. And Yoganandaji and Swami Kriyananda would refer and explain these in almost every talk or book that they made. And it's an interesting curiosity that even in the little things of the lives of Krishna and Jesus, there are these similarities. How they were both born of devout, humble parents, and Jesus in a stable and Krishna in a prison. And they were fleeing a king who wanted them killed. Jesus conquered Satan. Krishna conquered the demon Kalya. Divine intervention came many times in their lives. Jesus stopped a storm at sea to protect his disciples. Krishna prevented devotees from drowning by lifting Mount Govardhan. And besides uplifting humanity as a whole, avatars like Christ and Krishna also play another and more personal role, we could say. This is expressed beautifully in the Bible. The law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. Moses, centuries earlier, received the 10 Commandments on stone tablets from God, outlining the laws of karma and of dharma. Very much like Patanjali's yamas and niyamas, the do's and don'ts that help everyone to avoid suffering and that lead us toward happiness. Man first learns to respect that law, and that respect evolves in time into love and devotion. And devotion gradually attracts divine grace. Finally, God blesses us with his bliss. Again and again, God has come to earth in this way. Krishna, Rama, Buddha, and also Christ. At the time of the birth of an avatar, like today on Christmas, there's a special grace in the air. And how much of that grace comes from the power of the avatar himself, how much from the devotion of souls around the world on this day, and does it even matter? We celebrate this event to learn from the example of their lives, but on a deeper level, simply to commune with that grace. Yoganandaji said, "Doors of joy, which have been kept long closed within us, should be thrown wide open at Christmas. Keep those little doors of joy open so that the ocean of Christ consciousness may continuously, uninterruptedly flow into you. All we have to do is keep open the little door of our heart. The joy is coming to us. Just be open to receive it. See that joy in the faces of those around you, in the children here today, and in the inspiring words we hear, in the silence of our own meditation, and share that joy, knowing that it doesn't originate with you. It's a gift from God. Sharing and serving give our lives purpose and direction. And by sharing that joy, you'll feel that joy ever deeper. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Having grown up in the West, Christmas was always, of course, the favorite holiday involving gifts. And of course, the Christmas tree and Santa and all of that. And it is very much a joyful, childlike holiday out of all of our holidays. And just like we celebrate Gopala and we open our hearts to love baby Krishna, so here, this holiday brings us an open heart where we just, looking to share our love with baby Jesus, but also to receive that divine love in return. I don't know, many of you, I'm sure all of you probably have held newborns in your arms and just can feel that heavenly doorway between the astral world and this world. And I think it's always just an amazing thing to hold a newborn and just feel like, their consciousness is like barely here. They are, their consciousness is still very expanded in the astral world. And so whenever we honor the baby Jesus at Christmas, I always feel like just really want to touch that other world. And how we do that is just letting our ego and our personality just descend and let our heart and our soul just rise and open. The story of Christ's birth we will be watching in a few moments with our children's play. And it's been such a joy having the children here practicing and putting on their costumes, and the choir here practicing our songs. It's been just really a joyful couple of weeks here at the ashram. And I'm sure that all of you know the story, and I'm not going to share the whole thing, but there was this sect of Judaism that from the prophecies of old were waiting for the Messiah to be born. And so there was also this group of people who were preparing themselves for the Messiah, for his birth. And so Mary and Joseph were part of this sect of devout Jews who spent their life preparing. Like any of these girls could become the mother of the Messiah. So the girls would be brought up in the temple, and and of course the husbands would be coming from the same devout sect, expecting the Messiah to arrive any time, because it said in the Old Testament that the Messiah would be coming. And so then the story, of course, is filled with angels. Angel first came with Zachariah to say his older wife Elizabeth would be having birth. Even Zacharias didn't believe it. And so the angel struck him deaf-mute until his son was born, who turned out to be John the Baptist. And then the angel, after Mary and Joseph were engaged, the angel came to Mary and said, the Lord has found favor with you. He will give you the Holy Ghost will descend upon you. That's, the Om vibration just filling her. And as a result of that communion with the Holy Ghost, you will be the mother of the Son of God. The Son of God will be born to you. And so Joseph was, what do I do? My fiance is pregnant. And in those days, of course, the punishment for adultery was death by stoning. And so he was such a good guy, he was going to put her away somewhere and hide her and not let that happen. But again, an angel appeared to Joseph and said, no, this is God's doing, and you be her husband and protect this child. And then, just all the events of history conspired to fulfill all the prophecies. And, the Jews were an oppressed people at that time. They were basically oppressed by the Romans. They were a subjected people. And Caesar had declared census to be taken. So Mary and Joseph, and Mary, great with child, had to travel on a donkey to Bethlehem. And because that was where Joseph was from, and that's where he had to go back to, the place of his birth, for the census. And then we all know the story. They get to Bethlehem. She's ready to have her baby, and there's no room at the inn because the census has brought all these people back to Bethlehem. And so just, then just as, they're given a place in a stable with the domestic animals there in the stable. And then angels appear again, but who to now? To the shepherds. The shepherds are very quiet and still out in the hills watching their flock by night. And the angels appear and say, a king is being born. Ah. A king is being born. Go honor him. This is where he is. And so the shepherds go and find the place where Jesus is lying, and they, in their humility, bow down to this humble child that's laying in a manger. And of course, the humble parents, the humble baby, the humble shepherds, everybody's humble here. Everybody's got their hearts wide open. And then come the wise men, then come the kings, the wise men, the magi. And they too have gone to great effort, expense, and resource to cross the countries and end up following that inner star of intuition that showed them where the birth of the avatar was going to be, because they had foreseen it in their astrological charts and they'd seen it in the stars. And so they themselves also came in humility, great souls that they were, great humility, laid down, bowed down before the baby Jesus and offered gifts of great value, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And of course, there was the light of the star that was guiding the wise men. But let's not forget that Yogananda told us who those wise men were. People who are new to these teachings may not know this, but Yogananda told us that the wise men were Babaji, Lahiri Mahashaya, and Swami Sri Yukteswar. So we think, how can that be? It seems a little, far-fetched to think that. But we believe that Master is an avatar, and we believe what he writes and what he tells us. And so if this is what he says, it's like we absolutely believe it. And how can that be? Because these great ones come again and again and again in every age for the salvation of their disciples, for the liberation of those who can tune into their vibration, can tune into their light, can tune in to the love that they are always sending to us. And Krishna himself, Babaji himself said he was Krishna. Krishna himself said he was Narayan. And Master said he was Arjuna and William the Conqueror. And Sri Yukteswar was a great advisor to William the Conqueror. And if you think, lifetime after lifetime, age after age, these same great liberated masters come again for the salvation of their disciples. And then, Yogananda also said, when I incarnate, I bring down with me those that can help me with my mission. So how many times have we come back if these are our gurus, and they're coming back again and again and again, so who are they bringing with them? They're bringing us. So, I mean, obviously we know we have had many lives, but for us to be such close disciples of these great masters now in this lifetime, Yogananda said was very, 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 very good karma. We are almost at the end of, returning to the illusion world of Maya. And they come again and again to just give us the keys of freedom, to open that door of delusion and walk through. And they do this by teaching us how to experience their presence inside. Like the wise men journeyed through the inner star. They sort of forsake the world. They had great riches, but they traveled inside to the inner star so that they could fall at the feet of their fellow avatar, Jesus Christ. And that's also what Master said, that these direct line of gurus had a great bond with Jesus Christ. And he said Babaji was in charge of the evolution of the East, and Jesus Christ was in charge of the evolution of the West. And so together they help the entire planet evolve. And so when we think of what is our job then as their disciples, what is their mission if we're here to help them? Their mission is to help people understand who they really are, who we really are. And how do we do that? By tuning into them, by experiencing them inside, and receiving what they're giving us constantly, which is love, wisdom, light. By receiving that within ourselves, letting it transform us, and then sharing it with others. Receive and share, receive and share. That's our job as disciples. And so when we think of this song that we just sang, the Christ child's asleep, the silence is so deep. So this is just a teaching in itself. When we get still, that is when we will experience that Christ presence. That's when we will experience the light at the spiritual eye. And then it says, the freedom we would know Christ offered long ago. The great ones offer this freedom every time they come. And it's up to us as their disciples to experience that freedom from the limitations of our self-definitions, from the limitations of this ego that constantly try to tell us that we're these bodies, or our personalities, or our jobs, or our duties, or our roles in this life. Freedom we would know Christ offered long ago. And even from his slumber flows peace. The inner peace he brings will lift us on soul wings to soar in light and heaven perceive. So that is our destiny. That's why they come.